Welcome to day 3 of Let's Get Exam Ready. Today's video is going to cover the final topic from the biological approach of genetics and behaviour. But remember, we haven't covered the high-level extension topic, and that will be covered in a later video. This topic can be broken down into 3 subtopics, and it's important to notice the difference between the 3 subtopics. Subtopic 8 looks similar to 7. It's about genetics, but it's about genetic similarities. So we need to stay focused on research that's looked at similarities between the genetic components of family members, maybe siblings or parents, or maybe even twins, to look at whether the more similar we are in genetics, the more similar we are in behaviour. Whereas subtopic number 7 is not looking at similarities, it's looking at any genes or combinations of genes and how they can affect behaviour. So we don't have to just stay restricted to twin or kinship studies for number 7. For subtopic number 8, we might be asked a short answer question just about twin and kinship studies. So it's important to make sure that you know either a twin or a kinship study and you understand what we mean by kinship studies, which is just the whole idea that we look at family members to see if their genetics, in terms of similarity, result in similar types of behaviour. Twin studies look at children that have been born at the same time, so they're the same age, and they may be monozygotic or they may be dizygotic. And subtopic number 9 is asking you to think about applying Darwin's concept of evolution to behaviour. So we need to stay focused on research that looks at the idea that perhaps behaviour that exists within us today has evolved over time due to it being beneficial. And this would be due to the process of what Darwin coined the term natural selection. So as we have gone through the ages and over generations, our behaviour, we've adapted, and behaviour that exists today is beneficial to us because the genes that code for that behaviour have been naturally selected for, and they've been passed down over generations and generations. When deciding what research to include in our responses, it's important to make sure it links explicitly to the relevant subtopic. So for subtopic number 9, the research must show this concept about behaviour being evolutionary, that genes have been passed down over years because they're coding for beneficial behaviour, and the process of natural selection has occurred to make sure that those genes are continuing in the lineage because they code for a beneficial behaviour. For subtopic number 8, research must be fully focused on genetic similarities. So the safest way to make sure that you're including relevant research is to make sure you're including research that uses twins as participants, or research that's looked at family members such as siblings, parents, or children that have been adopted, to make sure they are focused on the concept of genetic similarity between people and how that affects behaviour. Finally, to complete your revision notes, make sure you think about the research methods which are used to investigate genetics and behaviour, the topic as a whole. Methods such as the experimental method have been used, and also correlational research are probably the main method you could use. There are maybe some examples of case studies. It all depends on the studies that you're going to use for each of the subtopics. But remember, you're thinking about the topic as a whole when you think about research methods. And remember, think about the topic as a whole when you think about the relevant ethical considerations too. When we research genetics and behaviour, which are the most important ethical considerations and why? And it's important to make sure that we explicitly state the human behaviour that we are addressing in our responses. Making sure you can identify the specific human behaviour in your responses is really important, and using human research will help make sure that you're able to do this. And here are some practice questions that you can have a look at, short answer questions and essay response questions for you to plan and think about how you would demonstrate knowledge, what studies you would use, and also for your essays, what relevant critical thinking would you include. The genetics and behaviour topic has a few fancy technical words. Including these in your responses when relevant and explaining them will help demonstrate knowledge. We finished reviewing the biological approach now, but remember, we haven't looked at the high-level extension topic yet. Here are some prompts to aid your critical thinking in relation to the biological approach as a whole. And now we finished the core elements of the biological approach, but remember, we haven't covered the high-level extension topic yet. If you have any questions about the biological approach, remember, you're more than welcome to email me, or you can simply ask a question in the comment section.